Hello, camera. Hello, internet. In case I post this video. I am landing right now. I am landing in my new apartment, which I have signed for up to 5 months, probably 6, probably 5.5. October, November, December, January, February, and maybe a little bit of March. Today I moved from my old apartment, and that was an hurried it was a hurried affair. As it turns out, I had hired professional cleaners to come and clean the apartment today, and I had assumed that they would come at 8 a.m. the earliest. I was wrong. They came at 7 a.m. So when I ended up turning my phone on at 7:57, well, turning airplane mode off anyway, I immediately receive a call asking me where I am and why I have not arrived and actually the question was, why is everything still in my apartment when they're supposed to clean? Because as it had turned out, I had thought about it optimistically and said, well, they're probably not going to get it there until at least 8, and they'll still have a little bit of time to get everything out. But no, they were already there. They were already cleaning. And I got there in less than 5 minutes because I was very close. I had spent the night at another house that was very close. Fortunately, very fortunately. And then I spent the rest of the morning grabbing things and putting them haphazardly into bags and boxes and backpacks and any kind of container that I had available as quickly as I could from where the cleaners were supposed to clean, meaning the kitchen, the bathroom, my bedrooms, including furniture, including decorations on the walls, including all my cutlery, including pots and pans and all my spices, salt and pepper and paprika and cinnamon and rice and lentils and oats and sugar in glass jars and tomato sauce and pasta and unused magnesium chloride and food leftovers, and books and vacuum cleaners and a broom and a mop and so many things. All my kitchen appliances. Hastily put them all in bags, in IKEA bags, put them in a room, and then went out and did it again and did it again and did it again. My landlord helped me by bringing down a few pieces of furniture. All the while I'm in a panic, trying to call my friend Julia, who had the car, which I was going to borrow today, trying to get her to answer the phone to get to my place so that I could actually have a place to put my things in, because as it stood, I was just putting them in the outwardmost room, trying to make space for the cleaners to work, but really having nowhere to put them in. After a while, Julia did answer the phone. She came with the car and she helped me put all my stuff into the car. She helped me organize because I had no order in my mind. I was just bringing stuff down, 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 down until eventually, well, it was all in. Well, it took 2 trips. Actually, it took 2 trips. Plus, a lot of the furniture just stayed in the street, which was quite fortunate because one of the cleaners said, "Hey, are you not taking this furniture?" I said, "No." "Are you putting it out in the street so that people take it?" "Yes." And so he said, "I'm going to take it." I said, "Feel free." So he took a lot of furniture for himself. I'm glad. I'm glad. It's less furniture I need to move tomorrow because I was allowed to leave furniture out on the sidewalk only for today. Tomorrow I am expected to go and put it somewhere else. So and then I drove twice over to this apartment, and on my first trip here I was thinking about logistics of my stuff and very normally just driving by at my own leisure and pleasure. And then at some point I suddenly wonder, oh, which speed should I be going at? And then I see a sign that says, oh, no more 50. Like, it's over there that, where the speed limit is no longer 50. But that meant that I was in a 50 zone at that time. And then I realized, oh, I wonder what speed I'm at. Oh, is that a camera? I got a traffic picture taken off my car and of me. And actually, the car is not mine. So Julia's gonna get a letter where she's gonna have to find, and she's probably gonna explain that it's that it was not her that got the traffic ticket but me. So, oh yes, that happened in the first trip. But then the first trip I come here and I just begin discharging everything, bag after bag after bag after box after bag after box, bag, mattress, pillows, more bags, until finally, okay, I got everything out. Back into the car, back to the first apartment, back to get more stuff. And then the heaviest furniture was there. But in the end, I managed to get everything, even my bike, even the stuff down at the laundry room. I confirmed with the cleaners that everything was all right. I put everything back in the car, everything into the car, brought it all the way here, this time in another path, trying to avoid that camera, a traffic camera. I got here at the apartment, and now I've been spending, 3 hours, I would say? 3 hours doing some lounging and relaxing and sort of sorting my things out. I'm trying to see how many redundant things I had, because this new apartment is furnished. And because it's furnished, I'm not going to use a lot of my stuff. A lot of my stuff is redundant. All my cutlery is probably redundant. Most of my bowls are redundant. My pots are redundant. My pans are redundant. My hammer is redundant. My screwdrivers may be redundant. Anyway, I'm going to deal with all the redundancy another day. Right now, suffice it to say, I am feeling heavy. Feeling heavy with many possessions. And wondering how to lighten myself. Tomorrow will be the key. what would it be called? The key back giving to the landlord. Hopefully all that goes well. I would like my entire security deposit back. It's 3,000 francs. I would like to have that money back. And then because today is Friday, tomorrow is a Saturday, and I have no obligations, no schedules. That feels somewhat freeing. Actually, just the mere act right now in which I am speaking, this feels fairly liberating. I haven't been making blogs or writing much or expressing myself or even dancing for my own sake in a fair while. And that's because of other reasons. And I'm wondering if I should make another video about that, or if I can include it here. It could be another chapter. Chapter 2. What's been going on in the last months? Chapter 2. Chapter 2 will be another video, and I'll cut it myself later. Sure. Okay, I'll cut it myself later. Hello again. This is video number 2 of this video that I'm recording today, September the 29th of 2023. It's a Friday. It is 6 p.m. here in Switzerland, in the lovely town, my new residence town of Ellikon an der Thur. I think it's called that because there's a river called Thur, and this place is Ellikon, so Ellikon by the Thur. That's what this place is called. And I am, as I explained in my last video, I am a bit tired-ish, relaxing-ish. And I have been doing this for the past few hours. But the reason that I'm making this video is because I want to say what's been going on with me in the last few months. What have I been talking about before? Well, the last time I talked, maybe I was sitting up and I had a fairly serious expression on my face and speaking about topics into which I thought I could penetrate mentally, and I could explain and I can describe it in the way in which I understand it myself. I have spoken about quite a few things. And now that I think of it, I think this is not the time to bring up personal stories. What is it? Well, maybe yes and maybe no. But as it turns out, I have been involved in social connections, personal connections, romantic and sexual connections that have felt marvelous. Back in March of this year, 6 months ago already, maybe to the day, I attended a dance event guided by Katerina. And it turns out that day, as I was dancing and expressing myself and feeling free and alive and true after having come back from Guatemala in a long trip, I began dancing with Iris. this girl that I met there. A young student. Lovely, cute. With whom we share quite a true resonance, an energetic resonance. I'm just remembering now the first time we hugged. It felt like tingles. No, not just tingles. It felt like home, like comfort, like both of us took each other and held each other and felt like there was support from the other, like the other one was, like each other, one another was our safe ground, our safe home. So after that day, after that march, I began visiting her every once in a while. And we began connecting little by little. Mentally at first, emotionally then the relationship turned physical. And we have been just connecting and having fun and enjoying one another's company for quite a few months. March, April, May. Sometime in this interval, she told me she loves hiking and that she would take a hiking trip to the Balkans this summer. And after a few weeks, after she told me that, she said, "Hey, would you like to come with me?" And I said, "Whoa, trip to the Balkans. That sounds amazing, amazing." And I couldn't go for most of the trip because she was about to go for 2 months and a half. And plus, she was going to also travel with another friend that she has, whom with she also shares a romantic and sexual relationship with. So that's also new to me. Sharing romantic and sexual partners with other people. That's new. Opening. For me, it has been mind-opening in a way. Liberating, in a sense. Anyway, I don't mean to go into a treatise or a discussion of monogamy and polygamy. Suffice it to say, I was very happy about the trip that she invited me to. So I accepted, and all this while I had a job. I had a job in robotics where I was programming robots. I was actually programming the automated test framework for the robots, but that's of little concern. So anyway, I go into this. Eventually the trip happens, and I go on this trip. 2 weeks traveling by bus, by foot, by Flixbus and by other buses, and I meet her, and we share a wonderful time. We have a wonderful adventure filled with little bits of magic, moments of adventure. Times of peace, lots of fun, learning new things together, meeting new people together, sharing problems, sometimes even feeling as if we were in danger at some point. Sometimes you lose the path and there's not enough water to go along, and it's very hot. And then parts of one's body begin to really wonder whether it's going to find water. Anyway, we spent 2 weeks together. We hiked and we basically traversed about 4 different regions between Albania and Montenegro. From a lake down to beaches, up to an amazing Bay of Kotor, geographically amazing place. Up into the park of Durmitor National Park, high mountains, high highlands, amazing place. So many different amazingnesses that we found. And through all of that, we just shared the trip, shared the adventure. So fulfilling. I felt enriched all the way through. Whew. And then I come back. And actually, by this time I had already quit my job. Not only had I quit my job, I had applied to another job. They have accepted me. They had offered me a contract to begin working in September. And then I realized that's not for me. And I refused the contract. And so I chose not to be employed right now, which opens up a completely different topic that's going on, but also interwoven with this one. Like a helix of topics. But so I return, and I don't have a job, but we return at the beginning of September. And so I come back to my apartment, and I have been hiking for about 2 weeks, not non-stop, and I wouldn't say particularly gruelingly, but it was fairly strenuous for my body. I didn't sleep on soft surfaces. Sometimes I slept almost directly on rocks, and my body was pretty banged up. It still feels a little rocky at times, or like it still remembers the rocks. My muscles are still a bit tense sometimes. It feels as if the springiness, the suppleness that I have felt in my body it's not as carefree as it was there before. And it's been like this already like for a month now. But it has been getting better. But anyway, I spent the first week, I just came back and allowed my body to do nothing. I wanted to do nothing. I pretty much said nothing. ate a lot of stuff, random stuff. I watched many YouTube videos. I just allowed myself to wallow in idleness while my body well, basically, while I gave free rein to my body and told it, okay, you moved me for 2 weeks, that was great, okay, now you take whatever you need to rest. And oh my god, it took it. So for about 1 or 2 weeks I was in rest mode. And then what happens during this time, oh yeah, it was right during this time, is that I happened to go to an ecstatic dance and I sent a message to this other girl or woman that I met just before leaving for my place in Montenegro, to my trip in Montenegro. Selena is her name. And I tell her about ecstatic dance and I say, hey, maybe you'd like this. Do you want to come to ecstatic dance? And she said, well, maybe not tonight, but I'm glad you talked to me because I had lost your phone number. Because, side note, this is something else that happened to me before the trip. I was on a train and I remember I had just left my job and I had just said that I would leave my apartment. And and I was such in this like light-headed mood of freedom. And I go to the train station and I meet Selena serendipitously. I get off the bus to get to the train at the train station, and I just before going there I just thought, maybe I should get some coffee. It was weird because I didn't really want some coffee, but something said, go get some coffee. And I said, okay. So I got to some coffee. I began drinking it, came out of the coffee shop, and I looked up, and right there she was. Oh, Selena. Oh, hello. Hi. I mean, I didn't know her. I didn't know her name. But it was quite a connection. It was as if we both felt a resonance. And I had seen her on the bus. And she seemed nice. She actually, I was on the bus, I was looking at a tattoo that she had. She had a tattoo on her calf, and it seemed to me like an abstract drawing of some lines, but they vaguely resembled some kind of feminine body, but I didn't know. So I don't remember even how we got to talking. But then through the conversation, I asked her, hey, what's that tattoo? And she says, oh, it's a Pocahontas tattoo. And I was like, oh, yeah, I see it now. Because there were some lines that represented leaves, and then it represents, like, it looks very windy, like Pocahontas, with the colors of the wind. Anyway, we get to talking, and we're both going to the train, so we walk together, and we get to the platform, and then we get into the train, and then we keep on talking, and then we keep on talking, and then we begin talking about topics like something related to either dance or spirituality or music, and then we begin talking about whether there's life after death, and then we both know that we both like these topics. Nice. And so I asked her to give her my number and such, and then she gives to me, and I said, and then we exchange numbers, and we each go our separate ways. And then one time, I remember and then I asked her to go to walk one day, and then she says, oh, you know what? No, sorry, I can't go because I'm about to go to a festival, a psytrance festival. And I say, psytrance? That's amazing. Oh, maybe I could go to the psytrance festival. I was like, I was even thinking, like, should I go? But no, I didn't end up going. But then I realized, another thing we have in common. We really like music. That kind of music. But anyway, so I met her before, and then we said something. I said, Something like, go for a walk. She said, I can't. I'm going to a festival. So how about I message you after I come back from the festival, she says. And so I said, well, great. Okay. Yeah. Send me a message. And then the week goes by and she doesn't answer. I mean, she doesn't send me a message. And I say, okay, well, maybe she's busy with other things. And then another week goes by and then she still doesn't send me a message. And then I thought, oh, well, maybe she got busy. Maybe she found some other attention sink, some other focus of attention for her during a festival, be it a person, be it a skill, being a place, I don't know. So I was like, okay, well, you do something else. And then I didn't keep doing anything about that, because then I went to my hiking trip, and the hiking trip was amazing. And then I come back, and while I'm giving my body this rest, I go to this dance event, and I tell her, hey, I send her a message saying, hey, I don't know where you are, but maybe you'd like to come to this dance event. And she says like, oh no, I can't. But I'm glad you messaged me, because I didn't have your phone number. I was like, what? You didn't have you lost your phone? Oh no, I just changed it, and blah 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 blah. Anyway, we got in contact again, and so we said that we would go. We met again the first time by going out to a walk in the forest on a Sunday night. At night. And I was a bit surprised. Oh, nighttime? Really? Okay. Well, okay. Let's go in the nighttime. And so we did. We met in the center of town, then walked over to the forest. She knew the path. And it was magical. It was a magical forest walk where I felt completely comfortable with everything that I said and everything that I was, and the desires and aspirations I have had and have right now, or had at that time, and even my confusions and lostnesses, like everything, just I felt so free to share who I was in full. And not simply that, but truly my words came out with such ease. Not necessarily with eloquence, as I sometimes like to try to express myself, simply saying exactly what was in my mind without blockages or trying to refine anything. Just like I felt like a child. It was amazing. It was an amazing walk. Forest walk. And so as the walk was ending, we began to hold each other's hands. And I could tell that we liked each other. And yet it felt like that night was not the right time to merge our bodies. And yet we had an amazing first night. And so I meet Selena, and now I have this connection with her. And then after a while, a few nights later, I invite her over to give her a human design reading. And she agrees, and I cook some vegetable curry for her, and we eat. And at some point we connect physically. And it feels good. Very good. Of particular interest to me was how open I was able to be about my own situation and my own state at that time, because at that moment I was and still am in an active romantic. Would I call it romantic? Yep, romantic. Trying to make it encompass everything that involves a romantic connection with Iris. And with that knowing and with that knowledge with that knowledge and that trying to be integral and truthful to that, I tell her that from the beginning. Look, I just, before we continue on, you just know that I have an active connection with someone else. Do you want to continue? Are you okay with that? And I felt how, for me, it felt like I did walk into a place that I feared, but it felt like I pierced it, because I've had enough experiences now with these kinds of connections where I realize that truth is truly the only correct path, I would call it. Correct with integrity, with myself. That hiding anything is counterproductive. And that it's not what I'm trying to say is how beneficial it is to simply be truthful about it. Because I had this fear that if I were to be so truthful, as truthful, and say I have an active connection with someone else, then this person might not want to have a connection. This new person, even though I felt a really a strong resonance with this new person. And yet, and yet I did it. I was completely truthful. And then, to the surprise of my fears, this new person was also open to loving me. I mean, to sharing love between us, sharing physical love, emotional love. And then since then, I have been also in a dialogue with myself about how does that feel? How does that feel to hold, to engage actively, truly, with two romantic connections simultaneously? How does that feel? Do I feel correct? Do I feel afraid? Do I feel I'm breaking some rule? Do I feel fears when I am with one of them thinking about the other? Do I feel fear when I tell one of them about the other because of schedule matters, or telling them what I did or what I'm going to do, or how is the connection with the other person? Or feeling, okay, how much of the connection to person number one do I say to person number two, and vice versa? How open are they to receiving? How much do I have the right to say from one person to another? Still afraid. I still have dialogues with my own fears about about something like, can they feel hurt if I say a particular thing, if I say something specific, if I compare, if I do I need to be careful of my words? Hmm. 嗯。So as it stands now, I engage in these two connections actively, simultaneously. And it feels lovely. It feels quite wonderful. Hmm. 43 minutes. It may be time for me to sleep soon. This was a good video of release, in any case. So, goodbye for now, video.